During the 2020 COVID lockdowns, Big Brother was taking all of our cell phone data, crunching it down, and figuring out how we might vote. And then companies were then selling those data analytics to campaigns to influence the elections of November 2020. We knew Democrats were using the virus as an electoral tool. We just didn't know it was this bad. Check out this article from Reclaim the Net. U.S. citizens were given secret COVID decree violation scores, a mass surveillance during the first few months of U.S. lockdowns. And what we'll find out later in this article is they actually used this to influence the Arizona election in 2020 for U.S. Senate. Well, how they do that, Jack? Well, we'll show you that in a quick second. But effectively, what they did was able to identify Republicans who were older and persuadable to the Democrat message on the coronavirus because they were older, right? And because they had the cell phone data that showed they were highly compliant with government mandates to stay at home. So here we are from Reclaim the Net. Voter analytics firm PredictWise harvested location data from tens of millions of U.S. cell phones during the initial COVID lockdown months and used this data to assign a COVID decree violation score to the people associated with the phones. In other words, you were being spied upon. Now, this might sound vaguely familiar to you if you followed what Google did during the early months of the lockdown. You remember, see how your community moved differently during COVID? And you could see how people went to the park more often. Hardly anybody took the public transit, those types of data. They just discontinued this just on October 15th, just this month. About a week and a half ago, they discontinued it, although they're keeping the data available for the foreseeable future, for research. And you can drill down on this data pretty far. I drilled down to Plymouth County because I'm coming to you from Plymouth, America's hometown, Massachusetts, behind enemy lines. And as you can see here, over the last 2+ years, parks are up 216% in Plymouth County. And other things. You can see they're tracking this pretty narrowly. They can drill down probably even more deeper than this, but this is what they allow us to see. COVID decree violation scores were calculated by analyzing nearly 2 billion data pings off of cell phone towers to identify people who are on the go more than their neighbors, moving people who weren't going to be cowed by these regulations versus those people who stayed at home. Therefore, they could figure out who was scared and who wasn't scared. And of course, when you have the ability to be scared, you're much more likely to be influenced by a political message. Not only did PredictWise use this highly sensitive location data, which we were supposed to be always told it's totally generic, you're completely anonymous. Yeah, okay. But combine this data with follow-up surveys, I guess, to the phones of those people who are being surveilled, and then use this data to help Democrats in several swing states. To target 350,000 COVID-concerned Republicans with COVID-related campaigns. And once again, I'll say it, they found Republicans who were scared or could be scared into voting Democrat. And if you head over to predictwise.com/white paper, you can basically see they're bragging about this. Hey, we're proud of this. Hire us because we tracked American citizens and this is, if you have ever seen Minority Report, you've seen Minority Report, the movie, this is just one step away from that. And in this particular case here, what they did was, we'll scroll down just a little bit farther. The result, Arizona Democrats coordinated campaign in support of now U.S. Senator Mark Kelly was able to deploy this real-time location model data to open up 40,000 persuadable targets that normally would have fallen off. Let me translate. In other words, through this location data, which was supposed to be anonymous, we were always told, no, nobody can find out who you are. they figured out that there were about 40,000 Republicans who would be amenable to a pro lockdown message because they were hiding at home because they could tell they weren't moving from their house. And they figured out, hey, these are people that not would not normally be Democrat voters, but maybe we can scare the bleep out of them and get them to vote Democrat this November 2020. This is 2020, November 2020. And of course, Senator Kelly got elected. Whoa, how funny how that happened. Because as PredictWise said, they were now allowing them to give the right message to the right voter at the right time. Well, when you're spying on people, yeah, you might have a little bit more accuracy in your message delivery, which reaffirms your belief, if you're not already thinking this already, that your cell phone, right, is a tracking device which also allows you to make phone calls, right? And if you know that going in, you can't really defend against. How is you're up against this giant thing? This is really, absolutely positively necessary to live in modern society. How do you defend against that? That's hard to say. I'm not exactly sure, but at least we should know about it in advance, especially if they're using that data to influence elections. Hey, I'm John F. Gately from Plymouth, America's hometown, Massachusetts, behind enemy lines. Have a great day.